Welcome to the fifth round of the Ringfreaks GT3 Premium Championship on the World Sim Series. The penultimate round of the championship, and we head over back to Belgium. The track, which is called Zolder, 4 kilometers long, has 10 corners in total, will force the drivers to face plenty of challenges this evening if they want to avoid troubles. Look at those high curves and how the cars fly up into the air. If you want to be fast, you have to use those curves, especially in those tight chicanes. And sometimes the curbs, well, they are not very easy on the cars in Assetto Corsa platform. Džibgašvili takes the provisional pole position with 3.5 minutes on the clock. Grantas Kareckas back with us this afternoon as he returned from the Ferrari Grand Finals from Abu Dhabi, where Grantas Kareckas was, did take the champion's crown. As we are still with the qualifying session, let's head over to the results of the championship standings after 5 completed rounds. The Pro Plus class currently has Simon Speth in the lead with 73 points in total, but Speth completed 4 rounds. Mendelis finds himself second with 52 points. He completed 3 rounds, and Grantas Kareckas currently 5th, equal points with Asp. But Kareckas, well, he finished only 2 races. He started 3, but had connection issues in one of those. So he's still one of the main protagonists to take the champion crown in the main class of this championship. Džibgašvili ahead of Kobosnidze and Vershitskas. Kobosnidze won the previous round. He received a 15 seconds penalty at that moment, but I've seen it being cancelled, so Kobosnidze won the overall standings 2 weeks ago, and he is currently only 2 points behind Džibgašvili in the Pro M class. So the M class is led by Azikev. Javakishvili and Sheralis follow him quite closely. Rybatsky is 4th with Balavichus 5th in the AM class. So the championship standings are pretty tight, and we are only 2 to go here in this championship. Penultimate round today. The final round will take place in 2 weeks' time. So it's going to be very important today for the drivers to achieve the maximum if they want to stay in contention to take the champion crown. And it has valuable prizes to offer for the drivers. This is a sponsored championship by Ringfreaks. That means that top 3 drivers in each class, in each category, will receive vouchers to test their skills out on the real Nordschleife circuit. The higher you finish, the longer you will be able to drive the car around the real track. I believe first and second places of each class will receive the vouchers. The third place on the podium will receive World Sim Series prizes. So you either want to be first or second in your class in the championship standings. And we've seen the rivalry between the drivers. High stakes on the table. As the qualifying session heads over to an end, and Javakishvili, he's dominating the track, and actually top 3 drivers are teammates, AOR Racing Team, Javakishvili, Džibgašvili and Kobosnidze, all 3 drivers from Georgia. Show everybody how it's done on the Zolder circuit. By the way, if you've noticed, I'll be hosting this race alone this afternoon. Gustas sadly couldn't make it. but I'm pretty sure he'll be here with us in 3 weeks' time. And I need to take out my calculator, but I believe it's gonna be taking place at the same week. A little bit later, we will greet the new year with a new premium race. As the qualifying session goes to an end, Jibgashvili still on the racetrack, Javakishvili on provisional pole position, Seifert still on the racetrack, Mendelis only 10th. Mendelis also back with us here this evening. Seifert crosses the line, has not went faster, so Mendelis with that Mercedes will try and beat the clock. Will he make it? Well, he went a little bit faster, but it looks like it was not fast enough. So let's take a quick look at the qualifying session results. Javakishvili taking the pole position. Jibgashvili will start second. By the way, Javakishvili M driver. Jibgashvili took the pole position for Pro M. Kobosnidze's third overall, second Pro M. Seifert, the first Pro Plus driver, starting from P4. Kareckas 5th, Speth 6th, Mendelis 7th, Belavičius 8th, Rybatsky 9th, Azikev 10th, Ožūnas 11th, Vershitskas 12th, Dautartas 13th, Jofert 14th, followed by Aspa, Nikanen 16th, Adomavičius 17th, Šerelis 18th, Des 19th, Markaitis 20th, Fry 21st, and Popenga 22nd. This is how the qualifying results in classes look like as we get ourselves ready for the 1 hour's race. As usual, different strategies are available this evening, and we might possibly witness them. Usually drivers tend to choose different strategies on circuits that allow to finish the 1 hour race with one set of tires. Lots of Ferraris here on the Belgium track. Lights on, lights out, and away we go. Jibgashvili leading Javakishvili leading Jibgashvili. Kobosnidze from behind. Kobosnidze late on the brakes and manages to go ahead of Jibgashvili. This is the Pro M battle for the lead in the overall standings. Kareckas currently in the lead for the Pro Plus class, but only 4th. Behind him there is a nice battle between Speth and Seifert. Now every position matters as Grantas Kareckas, well, he's able to jump out up into P2 as I think that's Belavičius who has spun, and there's more drama in the background. Big contacts and huge consequences, millions and millions and millions of dollars here left on the racetrack, including this R8. Wow, that was close for Fry. And, well, it didn't go as planned for a lot of drivers. Matas Mendelis, ooh, how have we missed this moment? All over the curbs he went into Seifert or Simon Speth and spinning around, damaging the car, and that's not gonna be a very nice race for Matas Mendelis, who needs the points. It looks like he had a great run after a couple of corners. Not a good qualifying session for Matas Mendelis. He was up there. He was already in front of Simon Speth, but then something happened. We didn't see what exactly was that, but we've seen Mendelis going straight into the doors of one of his rivals. I'm not sure if it was Seifert or Speth. And, well, action calms down. Kareckas in the lead. Kobosnidze ahead of Jibgashvili. Javakishvili down in 6th. And Seifert now against Simon Speth. These two are also battling. Oh, actually, this is the first race for Zandvoort. Yep, looking at the overall standings, Zandvoort, this is the first race for Zandvoort. As he tries to overtake Simon Speth, both cars go off the racetrack, and this is gonna be a very difficult race. Javakishvili now ahead of Zandvoort. Zandvoort wants to get that position back. This is not a battle for positioning class. This is a battle for P4 overall. Oh, actually, Javakishvili is fourth and running away. That was Ojunas and Zandvoort, as Ojunas tried to overtake Zandvoort. Simon Speth, who went off the racetrack in that corner together with Zandvoort, is right on the tail of Ojunas. Ojunas, M driver. He's currently second in his class. And let's Speth through calmly to continue his race. Zikev, the M championship leader, is 2.5 seconds behind Ojunas. So Ojunas finds himself in a very great spot on the racetrack this afternoon. Mendel is back into P10 after that contact with another car and a small contact with the barriers. That might be a very difficult race for Mendelis to continue from here. Yep, he's still on the racetrack. I think he's trying to figure out whether he has a lot of damage or no damage. Maybe he has figured that out already. And as he continues, his race this afternoon, and he needs to perform because he already missed one race. 6 rounds in total, 5 of them count towards the overall results. Simon Speth trying to chase down Zandvoort. Okay, Kobosnidze setting the fastest lap time. Maybe the setups of the cars differ. I'm not sure where from did Kareckas take out his pace, his race pace, but he's already 2.8 seconds ahead of Kobosnidze. Jibgashvili down in P3. Javakishvili is 4th. So the fastest driver of the qualifying session is now falling behind his teammates. Kareckas showing his dominant performance. He was dominant throughout the season, was unlucky in the 3rd round of the championship, where he was looking to take yet another win. Then the connection problems occurred and Kareckas went flying off the racetrack. Look at how much of the curbs the drivers are taking here. And if you've ever driven a Assetto Corsa, you definitely know the love of the curbs. Matas Mendel is down in P19. I think that would mean that Matas Mendeles has already went into the pit lane. Sometimes we can check the information out, but sometimes it doesn't work, and we have exactly the same situation. Mendelis is being shown as having 0 pit stops, but maybe this information is false. Grantas Kareckas sets the fastest lap time of the race so far by 5/10 of the fastest lap time of Kobosnidze. I need to take a look at the qualifying session results. Well, he's 7/10 of the qualifying lap time. Still the fastest driver on the racetrack. Maybe he didn't have a free track during the qualifying session, was unable to extract the pace, but it doesn't matter during the qualifying so much. It matters during the race. And look at the gap. Look at how Kobosnidze sends his Ferrari into the air. Going through the first chicane of the racetrack. That's Kleine chicane. And nothing Klein about this chicane here on this corner when the drivers are taking it seriously. That's Balevicius, an M-class driver. This is his battle with Rybatsky, and that would be a battle for P4 in the M-class. So, well, we have quite a lot of M drivers in the top 10 standings. It looks like the championship has seen drivers evolving, not only with points, but also with skills. As the championship progresses, the drivers tend to learn the tracks, the cars a little bit better. This is a new mod for Assetto Corsa, the original title. Balevicius up into P11, and well, that means the more you drive these cars with the extended physics, the more you learn and the faster you become. That's definitely obvious looking at the top 10 places here on the left side of our screens. We have not only Pro Plus drivers here, we have a lot of Pro M and M drivers, as some of the drivers have suffered some small issues here during the opening laps. Now the race pace has basically come to a stable... Well, the race pace has basically stabilized, that's what I was willing to say. There's still... Well, there's no battle between Speth and Zandvoort, and that's not what Speth would like to. He is currently in the lead of the championship. He would be second in the Pro Plus class, which would guarantee him great points, especially with Mendelis now having those issues after that contact from the first lap, but that's not the way it is. Jibgashvili goes around Kobosnidze, and there goes the fastest driver of the pre-qualifying session. I think Jibgashvili was also fastest in the practice session. These are two teammates battling in the Pro M class. Jibgashvili currently leading the class in the overall standings, and he wants those full points for himself in a round which is very important. You not only want to get a lot of points, you also want to finish the race first and get as many points as possible. The best would be the best for the drivers would be full amount of points that you get for winning in your class, and that's what Jibgashvili currently achieves with that overtake. I think both of the drivers are on identical strategy. Karetskas is also pushing, so I think he's not thinking about the longevity of his tires. Zandvoort, well, he gained on Javakishvili. Javakishvili. Now he needs to figure out his next steps. If he's a little bit faster than Javakishvili, even though it would not be a battle for positions, Zandvoort's still second in the Pro Plus class. But if he wants to finish ahead of Speth, he needs to figure out how to be in front of Javakishvili. Otherwise, if they come into a closer battle, the pace will drop, and that would mean that Speth might have some chances on the racetrack. Now, speaking about Speth, it would not be the first time as we see Speth taking that conservative strategy during the race and going with one set of tires, which would give him a little bit well, at least some of advantage on the racetrack. He would be stationary in the pit lane for a very short time. Sometimes that works out, sometimes it doesn't. We've seen Speth going for a strategy like this, but looking at the qualifying session, Simon Speth was 5/10 slower than Zandvoort was, so maybe this is just the track for some of the drivers, and not everyone is able to find the ultimate pace here around the track located in Belgium. Zandvoort getting a little bit closer on Javakishvili, and this is or might be the decisive moment for Zandvoort. Comparing the last 4 laps, Zandvoort was constantly faster, sometimes by whole 0.5 per lap. That means he should be held up quite shortly as he chases down a car from another class. All the cars are GT3 classes. All the cars are equal. All the cars have open setups. It's just that differently experienced drivers represent different classes here in this championship. So Javakishvili representing the M class, with Zandvoort representing the Pro Plus class. And look at the pace of Javakishvili. He got better and better throughout this championship. Well, I mean, he was strong at the beginning of the championship. He was fast, but at the final, at the last 2 rounds, he basically shines now with the overall performance. And his main rival, Azikev, is currently 3rd in the M class, not right behind, 6 seconds behind Ojuna, so quite close, quite far away from these drivers. Javakishvili wants a calm and a peaceful race here. I'm not sure if he'll gonna cover up any attempts of Zandvoort, if there will be any, as we ride around the Zolder circuit. 4 kilometers long, 10 corners in total, a very difficult track with those chicanes where you need to take a lot of curves and sometimes send the car into the air. You have to be precise with your steering input and make sure that the steering that the wheels of the car are looking straight. If you fail to do that, you might risk of losing the car while landing on the ground. Zandvoort made a small mistake. I'm not sure if it was by him or was he caught out by slightly earlier braking from Javakishvili. And that's gonna be another job for Zandvoort yet again. He lost about 1.5 seconds while looking at the gap between him and Speth. It's only 2 seconds. Jibgashvili sets the fastest lap of this race as soon as he got in front of his teammate. Kobosnidze already 3 seconds behind Jibgashvili. Speth 2 seconds behind. Zandvoort, well, he's only 7/10 behind Javakishvili, so it wouldn't... You couldn't say that he lost 1.5 seconds with that last mistake that he made, so that maybe means Javakishvili was also on a mistake, and both of the drivers lost a little bit of time. Javakishvili 4 seconds behind Kobosnidze. How high into the air the Ferraris are launched through that kleine chicane. As we go through Terlamenbocht section of the racetrack, another chicane with slightly smaller curbs, approaching the Boulderberghaarspelbocht. Excuse my language. Sheralis, drive-through penalty for cutting, so you need to take those curbs if you want to go fast, but at the same time you risk to receive a drive-through penalty because the track limits are closely tracked by the inside system. Adomavicius drive-through for cutting also. That means that if you cut the track 3 times, you will be penalized. Not by race control, but by real time penalty app, which follows closely how the drivers respect the boundaries of the track, and especially at those chicanes. We've seen already how high the cars are jumping into the air. I think that's why Mendelis chose this Mercedes. for this particular race. It should kind of soak the high curves a little bit better. Let's stick with Mendeles, who's currently 13th. With possibly the pit stop out of his way already, that's still not a very bad, not a bad result for Matas Mendeles. At this moment, it looks like he's down in P13, but I think he'll be better as Chiralis takes his drive-through penalty. Well, unless Mendeles didn't take that pit stop, that means he had more issues. Wow, and that Mercedes is also flying with 4 wheels into the air. Chiralis completing his pit stop, back to the battle between Seifert and Javakishvili. So situation looks very similar to what it was a couple of laps ago. There's one difference. Simon Speth is coming closer and closer to this battle. It's already less than 2 seconds. All 3 drivers in Ferraris, so no advantage or disadvantage for any of the drivers from this group. Maybe the setups are different for the cars. Speth has the heaviest car. Seifert should have the lightest car because that should be his first race. Javakishvili also without any added weight to his Ferrari. And well, Speth 15 kilograms. I'm not sure if that's terrible, but it's still a little bit heavier, and also the setup might be set up regarding the weight of the car slightly. That's why he is stuck a bit, and I'm pretty sure he would enjoy himself running second here in this race in the Pro Plus class. He's running 6th, he's running 3rd. He's running 6th overall and 3rd in the Pro Plus class. Look at the Pro M and M drivers as we run into traffic. They are doing an awesome job here in this race. Lap traffic might play a part in this race. Someone heads over into the pit lane. What might be a planned stop. A couple of cars are driving through the pits. It's a little bit early for a planned pit stop, but look at Seifert and Javakishvili. So traffic definitely played a part in this battle. Well, it's not a battle for position in class. It's still a battle for the overall places, and Javakishvili definitely chose to play it safe. Seifert is now through, and well, he had better pace before. He should be able to pull away unless Javakishvili will use that slipstream advantage on this relatively short racetrack with let's say medium length straights, but still the slipstream might do the job here. Simon Speth 1.3 seconds behind Javakishvili, still a couple of seconds behind Seifert. We'll have to monitor the difference between Seifert and Simon Speth. They had a very, very similar pace. Yep, so Seifert lost a little bit more than 1 second in that incident. Tadomavic's drive-through penalty taken. Not a very pleasant race for some. Not a very pleasant race for some of the drivers, but you have to risk it all if you want to succeed in this race. Wondering if Simon Speth will get on somehow while seeing Javakishvili in front, and he's getting closer and closer. So Javakishvili dropped a bit of pace after he was overtaken by Seifert when traffic was met on the racetrack at not a very great time. Timing was not the best. Speth runs a little bit wide, uses the whole width of the racetrack, meaning that he's here. He's willing to race for the better points. Currently, he's looking at P3 finish in the Pro Plus class. That's still better than the position that Matas Mendeles is currently at. But you want those you always want to maximize your performance as much as possible, and seeing a new driver in the series means that you would like to be in front of him. Look I'm looking at the position of Mendelis. Well, he's actually 4th in the Pro Plus class. We have 6 Pro Plus class cars here this afternoon. Adomavicius is currently down in 17th. Asp is down in 18th, as Jibgashvili sets the fastest lap time of the race. Simon Speth continues to push and gain on Javakishvili, and, well, is a little bit slower than Seifert, but not by much. As Mendelis starts to gain on the field, he's currently 13th. His main rivals, Karetskas, is in the overall lead. Speth is currently 6th, trying to chase down Seifert. So that's not the best position that Mendelis is currently racing at in this race, but still 37 minutes to go. Have no information whether Mendelis pitted, but, well, he was 10th. He then went back down to 18th or 19th, so I assume he did make that pit stop, maybe fixed his car, and now he's going to the end of this race. So we should still wait until the leaders complete their planned pit stops in this race to figure out where exactly Matas Mendelis will land. I'm pretty sure he'll still be behind Speth and Seifert, but there's nothing you can do now here, and, well, Mendelis will at least try to finish this race in P4. Adomavicius 5th in the Pro Plus class, 17th overall. Chasing down Fry in that Audi R8. Completely white car on the Belgian Zolder racetrack in the 5th round of the Ringfreaks GT3 Premium Championship. This is the final race of the final premium race of the year 2025. And if you... Oh, that's Speth spinning around. That's Speth doing a beautiful 360. So he didn't land with a straight wheel of his car that sent his car spinning around after he landed. Lost about 6 seconds here in this situation. I'm pretty sure the tires are also a bit damaged, so expect Simon Speth to definitely do that tire change. He didn't lose that much as, well, Mendelis at the beginning of this race, and I'm running a little bit deep into the 8th corner, which is called Boulderberghaar Speldbocht, something like that. Using Wikipedia to read out the names, and this is a very long name for one corner. Basically a right hairpin type turn. So Simon Speth did have some action on the racetrack, as I was speaking about this year and then trying to present next year. So there's gonna be one final round for the Ringfreaks GT3 Premium Championship in 2026, but on January 10th there's gonna be a special event, the first of the year, and an endurance race as usual at that time of the year, Daytona 24 hours race. Mark the date on your calendars, join the racing fiesta. We usually have a lot of drivers participating in that race, with at least a couple. A couple is a small word, with well, several divisions running. Prizes offered on the table, and well, if you're not interested in prizes, then the experience is definitely worth going for. So I'll leave you with some of the eye candy before we return to the racetrack for the hot pit stop action.
World Sim Series presents Ultimate Endurance Challenge.
There you go. If you didn't listen to what I was saying, visual representation always makes the work a little bit easier for me. So January 10th next year is gonna be the date for the Daytona 24 hours race, and if you'll head over to the World Sim Series platform, you will already find the event happening live, which will start in 24 days. The pre-qualifying round is open already. Plenty of drivers. Let's take a look at how many drivers did hit the track for the pre-qualifying session. 183 drivers have already completed at least one lap, either in the GT3 class or the LMP2 class. So still plenty of time for you to join the American Fiesta, which takes place at the beginning of the year after year. And, well, it's always quite fun and a nice race as Nikkanen is heading into the pit lane. And Ibatski goes up into P10. That leaves Mendelis 12th now, running right behind Vershitskas. Not sure if the strategy of these two drivers separates, but we've seen Vershitskas 2 weeks ago. Well, he won the round. Just trying to get. Yep, he won the round 2 weeks ago, but after the qualifying, the penalty got cancelled. He still finished second, but he had a very nice strategy with that no tire change, and he managed to finish second overall. Then was promoted to first, then demoted back to second. Still a very good result for Vershitskas, and as I was looking at the results, Mendelis got himself in front of Simas Vershitskas up into P11. And he's now gonna try and chase other cars. His main rivals are Speth, Seifert and Karetskas. So Seifert, I think it's out of reach for Matas Mendelis, but Speth might still be a driver where Matas Mendelis could get ahead of. What do we have here? Well, it's about 30 seconds. Pit stop delta about 48 seconds if you go for the tire change and the fuel. So the spin for Simon Speth, where he lost about 5 to 6 seconds, didn't help him. Yep, he lost 5.5 seconds here on lap 17. Let's wait for the end of this race and figure out if that's a big loss for Speth or it is not. Karetskas and Jibgashvili into the pit lane. Kobosnidze staying out on the racetrack. Yep, taking the lead. Seifert also staying on the racetrack. Jibgashvili and Karetskas still stationary. Definitely tire change and some fuel coming into the race car. Karetskas heading out of the pit lane. Jibgashvili is still stationary. There is a Nissan GTR GT3 car on the racetrack. Ooh. That's interesting. The timing tower decides to play some games. Now we have some advertisements. Kareckas heads back on the racetrack ahead of Ojunas, and I'm trying to figure out why this big shuffle in the order. Mendel is up to P9. Zandvoort stays second. Kobosnidze takes the overall lead. Will he head over to the pit lane or he'll stay on the racetrack? This is your pit window open for the tire change and refueling strategy. Looks like Kobosnidze is trying to get a little bit further into the race before he'll get over to the pit lane. I'm pretty sure he'll go for the tire change, though it would be quite surprising if Kobosnidze is on another strategy. His pace was quite nice. Simon Speth goes into the pit lane. That's gonna be tire change and refueling definitely. Oh no, it was actually only splash and dash pit stop for Simon Speth, so he is on a tire saving strategy. It's closing the pit lane, and drivers, they remember that you can go through each other in the pit lane. Wow, Simon Speth, well, he tried to play that game with I believe that's Fry in the GT3 car, in the Audi GT3 car. Simon Speth gets back on the racetrack right in front of Azikev, and is Matas Mendel is back in the pit lane, so that means he was not in the pit lane. Matas Mendeles should have made a couple of mistakes. Here you go, he's stationary, he's changing the tires and putting in fuel. That might be risk for Matas Mendeles, even with P4 in the Pro Plus class. He needs those points, but currently this race is really not playing out for Matas Mendeles. Yep, it did start out quite nice, but it didn't. It doesn't look that it will end out the way it started for Matas Mendeles after the lights went blank for the race start. Matas Mendeles went from P10 to P6 and found himself smashing into the side of another driver as he into the pit lane. I think Simon Speth should get in front of Zandvoort, because Simon Speth took only a splash of fuel. As we see Zandvoort still stationary in the pit lane, so Zandvoort was always constantly faster throughout this race than Simon Speth. This is best news for Simon Speth, our current championship leader. He wants to take that second spot in this race, because by the looks of it, Kareckas is out of reach. He's currently third behind Kobosnidze and Javakishvili. These two Ferrari drivers are yet to make that pit stop, but with 25 minutes on the clock, I'm starting to think that Kobosnidze and maybe Javakishvili are on the splash and dash strategy, where you only put 1 liter of fuel into your car regarding the regulations. Javakishvili right on the tail of Matas Mendeles. Matas Mendeles about to be lapped by an M driver. That's not something you can see very often on your screens, and well, Matas Mendeles knows he has fresh tires on his Mercedes. He needs to bring up the temperature into that virtual rubber, but he'll pick up the pace. You can see he already opened up a small gap. That's not something that Javakishvili is enjoying of, though. Ojunas is about 20 seconds behind Javakishvili, so well, it's just a very relaxing race for Javakishvili. He finds himself sometimes battling those Pro M and even Pro Plus drivers here in this race, but well, what can you do if you're well, carrying that pace around a track, being an M driver, matching the pace not only of the Pro Ms but also of the Pro Plus drivers. Matas Mendeles, well, sometimes he has the advantage, sometimes he loses a bit. I wonder if that's battle for position. Yep, indeed, Mendeles down in P15. That's Rybatsky in front of Matas Mendeles. So Javakishvili is about to lap not only Matas Mendelis but one of the M car drivers. Wonder what Matas Mendelis will do about this situation. He's being showed blue flags. Well, I'm pretty sure he has the pace here. He's now stuck behind Rybatsky. He needs to make that move. Otherwise, I think he'll need to let Javakishvili through. And that would be a nightmare, the further nightmare for Matas Mendelis. There goes the dive, and this is the move complete. Well, I think that was very clever by Rybatsky. He found himself in a situation where he is battling a very fast car, but for position, and seeing Javakishvili in his rear view mirrors, which is a blue flag situation. So I think he just, as he's seen Mendelis taking that tighter line into, I love the corners, the naming of the corners on the Zolder racetrack. As soon as he's seen Matas Mendelis dive into the inside of Sterrenwachtbocht turn, he gave him space. Let's go through the Terlamenbocht chicane, and this is basically a, oh no, it was actually the Boldenberg Haarspelbocht corner. The Terlamenbocht chicane and a three direction change corner is already behind us. Jackie X-Bocht has been completed. This is the 10th corner, the final chicane. We are on board with Javakishvili. He's behind Mendelis and Rybatsky, and it looks like the tires on the Ferrari of Javakishvili are already worn out. Skretskas runs third, now 28 seconds behind Kobosnidze. Kobosnidze will head over into the pit lane, but that's gonna be a very short stop. Simon Speth, second in the Pro Plus class, fifth overall, 5 seconds behind Ojunas, saving those tires, but basically most of the drivers are in nowhere's land now. After the pit stops, Seifert, did he overtake Joffert, or is he being chased by Joffert? Well, he wasn't definitely in front of Joffert when they crossed the line. So Joffert, Pro M driver, who runs fifth in the class. So 5 Pro M cars in the top 10. 2 M cars in the top 10 and 3 Pro Plus cars. That's a nice mix of cars. Seifert trying to overtake Dotartas, who makes a mistake. Joffert right on the tail. Just looking at the situation, this is a head-to-head battle between Joffert and Dotartas. 4P for position 4 in the Pro-M class. Dotartas goes defensive. Not sure if this is an out-sync strategy situation, but Joffert manages to make that move complete. Whew, this is nice driving by all the drivers. Dotartas made sure that that's not going to be an easy walk for Joffert, and he dives straight into the pit lane. So this is what I was talking about, a basically out-synced strategy situation. Ooh, who has been stuck there behind that Nissan? That's Popanga trying to feather the throttle around the track. He doesn't want to get involved into the battles now. This is some traffic situation for Seifert. I don't think he'll be able to catch up with Simon Speth, no matter how slow Simon Speth might become towards the end of this race. With 19 minutes on the clock, a very busy track situation for Seifert. Whoa! As we swap the cameras, one car is off the racetrack. That's Fry in the Audi R8 LMS. Did he outbrake himself? Wow, it did look very, very scary through the rear view camera on the Zandvoort car, as Frey looked to be outbraking himself, but well, he managed to brake just in time to avoid contact with Zandvoort. And the next target for Zandvoort is Verschickas, and then the very fast Jeb Gashvili, who dropped into P6 now. He was in front of Kobosnidze and Javakishvili. He went into the pit lane. Verschickas is yet to make that pit stop. And Zandvoort is trying, well, he will try definitely to chase down Simon Speth, who is on old tires, and still manages to go a little bit faster than Zandvoort, because Zandvoort was in that big traffic situation. So by the looks of it, on pure pace, Zandvoort can do those 28 low lap times, but with traffic, he is basically unable to do that. Look at how fast he gained on Verschickas. And bump drafting a little bit with your rival, just couldn't, he was not able to get out of the slipstream on time. Look at the grip difference on both of these cars. Zandvoort enjoying these new tires on his car. Verschickas definitely saving the rubber. He'll need to stay on the racetrack for the remaining 16.5 minutes and a little bit more. It will depend on when the leader of the race will cross the line. Then we have these battles with the different strategies on the racetrack still to be answered. Kobosnidze now 27 seconds ahead of Kareckas, but Kobosnidze will definitely need to go into the, well, he will have to go into the pit lane to take the fresh rubber on his car, and I think Kareckas will still end out in front of Kobosnidze, even though it will not matter because all three leaders are not battling for position in class. Kobosnidze Pro M, Javakishvili M, and Grantas Kareckas driving in the Pro Plus class. Kareckas looking for his third win on his fourth visit in this championship. He missed last round. He was competing in the Ferrari Grand Finals in Abu Dhabi, where he won the Champions Crown. Was greeted by the man himself. He shook the hand of Charles Leclerc, and Kareckas is back to Lithuania, back to the Ringfreaks GT3 Premium Championship on World Sim Series platform, looking to snatch that overall championship win. 6 rounds in total. Grantas Kareckas will finish only 4 of those, because he missed 2 of the rounds already, and he's still third in the standings, only 2 points behind Matas Mendeles. That's gonna change after the race tonight finishes. Hopefully everything will go smooth up until the end for Grantas Kareckas this evening, who is looking at his third win in class in this championship. What about Mendeles? He's 14th overall. I think that's still 4th in, yep, indeed, that's still 4th in the Pro Plus class. Sadomavic is 16th, and he's 5th in the Pro Plus class. Ask is 18th, and he's 6th in the class. No additional points for finishing in top 10 overall. Ooh, wasn't that a small contact between Speth and Ojunas? I think it was a small miscommunication between drivers who drive identical cars but are on different paces. Ojunas dives into the pit lane. That should be a very short stop for Ojunas, as we see Frey driving through the pit lane. This is a very long pit lane. Should be a long delta. Now, what about Kobosnidze? He won the round 2 weeks ago. Kareckas was not present in that race. Kobosnidze demonstrated dominant performance. He's now in the lead with that different strategy, but looking at the lap times, I mean, Kobosnidze is even faster than Grantas Kareckas on the last lap, and basically on all of the laps. Did Kareckas forget to change the tires? Could it be is it possible for Kareckas that he forgot to change the tires? Well, because Kobosnidze is definitely on all the tires. Kareckas was in the pit lane, stationary for quite a long time. Both cars are 30 kilograms heavier than they should be. They have identical BOPs. Because, well, yeah, that's because they are on different, they are in different classes, but still, well, it will not matter who will take that overall win. All three overall leaders are from different categories, and two of them will have to enter the pit lane. That's gonna be very interesting. After Kobosnidze and Javakishvili will head back on to the racetrack to figure it out what strategy worked best. We've seen Kareckas dominating the race until he went into the pit lane. He's now third and not dominating it anymore. Pace is identical. So interesting twist. This is Jofert versus Vershitskas. And I think Vershitskas is yet to make that pit stop. Not sure about Jofert. Well, he was running around the top 10 places. We've seen him here, but we've noticed him after the round of the pit stops took place. So maybe Jofert is also looking for a pit stop. This is the pace difference. So Vershitskas lost quite a lot on 29th lap. He lost out almost 1 second on the 31st lap. Now when Jofert is right on his tail, he's a little bit faster, but it looks like that's only because the pace of Jofert has dropped slightly. Both cars stay on the racetrack for at least one lap. The rules say that you either have to change tires during your pit stop or add at least 1 liter of fuel into your fuel tank. So the strategy options are open for the drivers. Jofert trying to go around the outside side by side with Simas Vershitskas. That's really tight. Both drivers are respectful for each other, leaving just enough space to not make contacts, and that's Jofert through into P7, but actually he's now up into P3 in the Pro-M class. The question is, are both of the drivers going to head over to the pit lane, or that's already it? You have to make your pit stop, starting with the first minute of the race and ending with the 59th minute of the race, meaning that if you'll head over to the pit lane with less than 1 minute on the clock, you are already racing against the rules, and that's basically a penalty. So the drivers need to make sure that they make their pit stop with at least 1 minute of time, of race time on the clock still remaining. Matas Mendel is back into P13, 5 seconds behind Nikanen, still running fourth. That's basically the way it's gonna end for Matas Mendeles this afternoon, so he'll get the least amount of points from the drivers who are battling for the championship. That's Kareckas, Simon Speth and Mendeles. Oh, by the way, Javakishvili went into the pit lane. He is back out on the racetrack ahead of Speth and behind Kareckas. This is Kareckas dealing with traffic. And Simon Speth, well, he's actually much closer to Kareckas, but yeah, both, well, the drivers had different strategy, definitely, in the pit lane. Kareckas actually running really slow. Simon Speth managed to shave off almost 2 seconds on the last lap, which is this lap. I think Kareckas was stuck behind a lapped car, but well, I think Kareckas has some issues with the tires. I'd say he forgot to change them, so he added fuel, but he didn't change the tires. Because he was definitely stationary for a very long time, much longer than Speth was anyways. Yep, Kareckas 30 seconds behind Kobosnidze. Kobosnidze staying on the racetrack for yet another lap, so he'll try to carry this much further into the race with his final pit stop. 6.5 minutes on the clock, a relatively short lap, so around 5 laps still. Maybe my math has just played games with me. That's not 5 laps, that's about 4 laps, depending on which where Kobosnidze will cross the start and finish line, or where he'll be when the time on the clock runs out. We've already completed 36 laps with Nika Kobosnidze. Kareckas just crossed the line, 30.6 between Kobosnidze and Kareckas, so very similar pace for both of the drivers, with Kobosnidze still thinking about his final pit stop. Jibgashvili now behind Simon Speth. The driver who holds... oh no, it's actually Seifert who has the fastest lap time now of this race, 1:27.553. Azikev. Oh, Azikev received a drive-through penalty. Our M championship leader is also struggling here in this race in Belgium. That's Jibgashvili and Speth, both drivers stuck behind lap traffic, and it looks like this race has seen plenty of impact by the traffic. A very short and basically a narrow track definitely plays a role when you when you chase down those slower drivers and have to deal with the traffic. That's Jibgashvili trying to overtake Simon Speth. He's currently second in the Pro-M class. He needs that pace that his tires can offer him, because Kobosnidze is far out in the lead. That might still be a battle between Kobosnidze and Jibgashvili, but I think Kobosnidze has nailed the strategy this afternoon, and Jibgashvili managed to overtake Speth. Goes into the hunt of Kobosnidze. I'm pretty sure he's uncertain how that's gonna pan out, but he needs to put a maximum performance into his race. This is for the lead, not only in the Pro-M class, but also in the Pro-Am overall standings. Whoever finishes in front will take over the lead. Well, will not take over. Currently, Jibgashvili is in the lead of the Pro-M class. He's only 2 points ahead of Kobosnidze. Jibgashvili has the big advantage of the BOP against his rival. Kobosnidze is still out for yet another lap, so he's carrying it towards the very end of this race, which is, well, a very clever strategy decision if you are just running with a splash and dash strategy. You are definitely willing to bring it as far as possible just to have that 1 or 2 extra laps towards the very end of this race. But this is a nice battle. Well, Karecka's basically not putting a lot too much into the tires of his car. Well, with that longer pit stop, I assumed Karecka's will be flying when he went back on the racetrack after his pit stop, but I assume he simply forgot to change the tires. Oh, nice penalties on the table. We have plenty of time. Penalties. One of the more interesting ones is a brake check for Sheralis. He received -2 safety rating points as Kobosnidze heads into the pit lane. Splash and dash gets moving again. Where is Kareckas on the racetrack? Far behind, as Kobosnidze will be hitting his right foot to the floor and continue this race as the leader of the standings. Back to Sheralis, brake checking Azikeyev, receiving 10 seconds penalty and -2 safety rating points. Zandvoort has also received 10 seconds penalty. Ooh, this is interesting. So the fastest car on the racetrack has a 10 seconds penalty. Does that change the standings in any way? No, it doesn't. So he'll still stay third in the Pro Plus class. That means that Simon Speth can relax. Even if he is in front of Zandvoort, he'll end up even further in front of Zandvoort, so that's P2 in the Pro Plus class for Simon Speth, if he'll avoid any further mistakes. -3 safety racing points for FDES for causing a collision, and Rybatsky has received a 5-second penalty, and Azikeyev has received 2 5-second penalties. Zolder proves to be a very difficult track for most of the drivers. Jibgashvili right on the tail of his teammate. This is a battle for P3 overall, but no battle for position in classes. Wonder if the teammates communicate. Now Kobosnidze is leading the race, leading the Pro-M class, and he just needs to finish it because he just started the final lap. Kareckas is 10 seconds behind. Jibgashvili is well, basically 15 seconds behind Kobosnidze. So another dominant performance, another smart strategy race for Kobosnidze as he jumps over the curbs for the final time this evening. This is the 5th round of the Ringfreaks GT3 Premium Championship. There are 6 rounds in total, 5 of them count towards the overall standings of the drivers. Kobosnidze winning his 2nd race in a row. He won 2 weeks ago at Nürburgring. We didn't have Kareckas 2 weeks ago with us, and he's doing it again with Kareckas back behind the wheel in this championship. Kareckas will win the Pro Plus class, of course. There's no difference in the order that the drivers finish this race when they are in different categories, but there goes Nika Kobosnidze. Very good race, very clever and strategically achieved. Kareckas will finish 2nd and 1st in the Pro Plus classes. Kareckas out of fuel. Kareckas is out of fuel, I believe. And he's being pushed down. Was he pushed? That's interesting. Or did he let... I'm not sure what happened there. Maybe he's out of fuel. Maybe he just wanted to let Javakishvili through. Simon Speth will finish 4th. What happened with Jibgashvili? Oh my lord. Timing tower again going crazy as the drivers cross the line to finish off this race. So let's wait until all the cars cross the line, and we'll definitely figure out the positions that the drivers take here in this race. But Kobosnidze, phenomenal job by the driver from Georgia. Looks like Javakishvili finished second overall after Kareckas slowed down dramatically. Jibkashvili, well, he's currently fifth overall behind Simon Speth. Cannot understand what exactly happened there, as we still have some of the drivers having to complete their race. Charelis should be the last car. Well, he's not the last car on the grid to cross the line. I think we have all the cars, including Ojunas, who have crossed the line to finish off this race. So let's take a look at the results. These are the overall finishing results. Kobosnidze winning ahead of Javakishvili, ahead of Kareckas, Speth and Jibgashvili. That's your top 5 overall. The Pro Plus was won by Kareckas. Simon Speth finished second. Seifert third, even with that penalty. I think he'll stay P3 in the Pro Plus class. Mendel is fourth. Pro M class won by Kobosnidze, and Kobosnidze won the overall race. Jibgashvili second, Jofert stayed third, Vershitkas fourth, Dautartas fifth, and the M class has been won by Javakishvili. Rybatsky second, Azikev third, but there are some penalties on the table for Rybatsky and Azikev. So that's close between the two drivers, but I believe that Ojunas is still very far behind, well, at least looking at the results, so that shouldn't change the order too drastically. But we will figure this out completely in 24 hours or so. So that's it for the fifth round. That's it for the Premium Racing Series for 2025. There's still one round on the calendar. We'll be heading over to the big Nordschleife circuit for the final round of this championship on January 6th, and then after we finish the Ringfreaks GT3 Premium Championship, we will greet the 24 hours of Daytona race on the next weekend. So stay tuned. You still have plenty of time to head over to the World Sim Series platform and take your chance to participate in one of the biggest endurance races of the year on not only World Sim Series platform, globally we'll have the real race happening and we'll have more races around. So if you want to feel that endurance racing action by yourself, wait no more, go over to World Sim Series and see you there.
World Sim Series presents Ultimate Endurance Challenge.